wild man. So this wild man was just it's just wild. It's just, you can't predict what it's going to do. But it's part of a Homo sapien, the human man, part of human troglodyte, and it's part of our DNA scientifically. It's us, right? In English name, it's known as Bigfoot. This wild man is called Bigfoot. And here in the United States, we say that the Navajo has the largest tribe, right? We're the largest tribe. And then the Sioux say that too. And then what they say is, if we bring in all the reservations for the Sioux, then it's bigger than the reservation, Navajo reservation. But actually, we're the largest tribe. In here, there's a lot of sightings. And people have names for all different areas. Like for right here, like I'm saying, the way the old people used to say is Dineii. Right? So Dineii is, I've listed that into 3 also, that the Navajo terms that sound similar, which is Dineii, right? Dineii. Man, people. And Sharon Morgan. Dineii is what?
Isn't it because they spell different now? There's 2 different.
They're spelled differently.
Yeah.
They almost sound similar, but Dineii would be like the other tribe, right? If there was just that tribe, if you were up close, and now it was you, then I would say Notai, right? That's specific. Or like Shanice, Beche. I would say that. But she was walking way over there to see it's like glass, I'll say that. That tribal member over there, Dineii. But and then also, here's Dineii. It's kind of like drawn out, right? Dineii. Dineii. That, my grandparents told me, was the proper name for these creatures that are around. They are more or less like the night people. We are considered, Dineii is considered like the day people. Dineii is the one that's the night people. So we had 2 people covering each, 24 hours, 12 hours. One covering the day, one covering the night. All living inside the reservation. And let me show you this first. Brenda, like I said, the shadow seekers have all types of casts of these footprints that look really similar to it, right? Really similar to the human foot. But you notice one thing. Let me tell you this. The human foot is skinny right in here. Right here. Okay? The human foot, skinny right in here. If you look at your foot and you put it in the hesh, Randy has it full of crap. It's going to be skinny right in here. You'll see that. Right here. Right here. Right in the middle.
Okay.
I don't know, if I was a doctor, I would tell you this part, but it's just right here.
That would be called an arch.
Okay, the arch. They don't have arches. Okay, it shouldn't be going on. All right. As you can see, here's another one. Where is the skinny part to it? Down below, right? Down below. But it's not in the middle. where the arch should be. These are footprints that are down by the river.
Yes.
And then I'll put these pictures out. Just common pictures. Just. Oh, okay. Here's the other one. This is like there's one on this side. And there's one walking on this side. Myself and Brenda Harris, we have been collaborating, recently. Really good. We just, hey, and we talk about it. We've been, go ahead and pass it around. We've noticed that there's just not only one. We only hear about Bigfoot way up there, right? Alaska, Seattle, Washington, they live up there. Down here we find, different kinds. We have the Navajo Bigfoot, right? That live on the Navajo reservation. And the common Bigfoot face that we see is the cone heads, right? We don't see those too often down here. Maybe they travel and all that, but we see the ones with the round face. Like, let's say, I popped out one day maybe behind a bush where you are having your barbecue. You would mistake me for a Bigfoot, right? Just because of my face, right? We have the ones that are down here, they're like kind of like just round face. We don't have the cone hit and all that. But the way my head is under all this hair is probably combed too, right? So I hide it. Anyway, that's one thing that I noticed. And then they talk too. That's what we found out. Mm-hmm. Here, let's just kind of like pause here, and we'll hear part of the yelling or the gibberish that they have.
This is what they call a whoop sound. This is just another way of communicating while one's way afar off. And when they do this whoop call, it's their language of them saying like, hey, I'm over here, you come this way. Vice versa, they could do the same thing and they'll say, you come this way. Like, hey, I'm over here. Just like when you guys are yelling for your friends, hey, this is just another way of communicating. Not only that, but wood knocking's another way too.
Okay, that's just a little. I've heard that down by the San Juan River. How about you guys?
Don't you hear that Area 7?
Yes.
Yeah, not too long ago, went over there with some friends. We heard something like that.
What did you think when you heard that?
We suspect that it was probably skinwalkers, and we went to Shiprock Rock that night before. We heard that before.
Also.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard there's trolls over there.
See, all these trolls, skinwalkers, sometimes they're mistaken.
Oh.
They have we mistake them for, the Bigfoots around here, right? If you look at the skinwalker, just the name skinwalker, right? Just kind of defines Bigfoot.
I do believe Bigfoot is real because my mom and dad got chased by one time. The hills over there behind Indian Village, when they went up there for a run, they got chased by one, and they ran. They are around. Majority of trails comes from right around the towers over here. Yeah.
that lead all the way across to where I live. And then all through the bushes of San Juan, or the San Juan River. And for me, you know how the Chaco Wash splits up a little ways from here, about maybe 2 miles? It goes its different ways. The Chaco Wash, I live right in the middle of the Chaco Wash and the San Juan River. So I get activities from both sides. I had my pictures and I was going to show it. See how close they get. I was doing my homework and all of a sudden I felt like somebody's looking at me. So I started looking at the window I was sitting at. Of course I was sitting towards the window by myself. And I was all like exposed like that. And it was like that. So maybe it was looking at it. Maybe, that guy's a man or something like that. Or something like that. Anyway, that's the next day I went outside and I seen the handprints. About 30 minutes before this class, one of my good relatives, friend, said, "No, let me take a look at it. Let me put it to my computer," and wiped all my pictures out. That's the reason why I didn't bring it. I didn't bring my camera. It was right there, right at the window, just looking at me like this. But anyway, that's happened. My experiences. Any questions before I continue on? Becky? Roz?
I did. So are you saying that Bigfoot is Dineii?
Part
Dineii?
Dineii is us, right? Dineii, we call ourselves. Hey, Dineii, son. Dineii, key. The way my grandma and my grandpa have said it, they're called Dineii. Just the other people, the unknown people. The people that live in the dark. They're a part of us. Okay? That's what, I'll get to that. All right? I'll get to that. In the story that I want to tell you, I have some experiences, my personal experiences is what I want to talk about. I'm not going to talk about Brenda's experience or Jessica's experience or Nellwood. Nellwood has a lot of experience. So but I'm going to just go by mine. In 1973, I was 6 years old. I was a little guy, tough. My sister, my older sister, she's 1 year older than I am. So she was probably about 7 years old. My younger brother is younger, maybe 2 years younger than I am. And we were playing inside our house, our log house. My dad had built a real big log house. And we were playing in there and it was sectioned off. There's some rooms on the north side, two rooms. And then right in the middle was the living room. The next room was the kitchen and the dining room. So within there, we were running back and forth and we heard a knock first, and we ran towards it came from the living room door. And the living room door had an addition in there, kind of like a porch. And we ran that way. So, we were a little fast. I beat my older sister. I was proud. And as a little kid, whoever you beat, it's sketched in your mind forever. And we decided to open the door, and we couldn't. Just and then within there, my sister and I, we cracked it open about that much, and we were wondering why we couldn't open it. And we started looking up, and we saw a padlock way up there on top, where the latch was. We just closed it. Said, we can't get out. And our babysitter had dissed us. I don't know where he was, which was my dad. And we went back to playing. I didn't play with dolls though. So I'm thinking my sister was playing little chitties with us, those little cars. And then the next knock we heard was on from the plexiglass, those BIA glass that cannot break. So we heard that, so we ran that way. We were all looking. We ran. The lighting was about how it is now, and really lit up, and it was dark on the outside. But I could see the moon past it when it was from the east side. I was looking at it, and we saw something just kind of come in like this to the side, and then it goes like this. And me and my sister were looking at it. What is that? The opening was about that much, about that wide. So about 3 by maybe 13 inches, 14 inches. And we went through there. I mean, we looked through there, and we were looking at this thing. And here's the sink, the water sink. We just had our hands on it. We were really up close. Here's the window right here. We're looking at it. And we saw a brown face, kind of like gray too. And the only thing that we could relate to, or my sister said, that's an elephant. Because at first, when it was looking at us to the side like this, I mean, we only saw the side of its face looking at it. The eyes were big. And the face was kind of like kind of hard, grayish to brown. As it was gray, and then as it got towards the eyes, it started, being brown. And it has one of those cow eyes. It kind of had that little slit in there, but it's not too much like as to where it's a billy goat eyes. It's just kind of like a little bit, but it's brown, just like the same as us. So it looked at us, and I'm thinking, we're looking at me, my older sister, we're looking at her right here. And I remember it had a thin lips, going like this or something like that. So we looked at it, and then she goes, "Hey, it's an elephant." The only thing that's what we could relate to, just by the color, right? It was gray. So it had wrinkles around its eyes like this. Looking at it. And my younger brother was like, "Ah!" I bet you he was much more smarter than us, than the both of us. We were just standing there. We didn't know what it was. He knew it wasn't human. So he just started crying, running that way. We saw hair on it, all of that. But like I said, we didn't know what it was. We never encountered anything like that. And then that was what I experienced. The next day, everybody was eating. My Nolly came around. I used to hang on my Nolly's skirt all the time. She came around and said, "Hey, Nolly, I saw an elephant." And she says, "Oh, yeah, okay." And that's it. We told everybody, but they didn't believe us. But come to think about it, with that elephant, how we thought about it, it's probably like when it had its hand or the whole arm like this hanging on to the other side, looking at us. If you're looking at it like from the side, it kind of look like the arm would make it look like a trunk, right? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So that's what I could just, that's what I came up with. The next encounter was me, my grandma, my grandpa. We loaded up some cantaloupes, watermelon, corn, apricots, and we used to grow all of these down by the San Juan River too. And we had a real big field, and it was harvest time, so we loaded my grandpa's truck. Didn't know, as a young child back in the day, It didn't matter what you thought, you just did. So I just loaded everything up. Hey, loaded up. I loaded everything up. And we traveled to Black Mesa. You know where Black Mesa is, right? The next mountain after Lukachuke Mountain. Towards Pinon, all that. But anyway, that's like kind of like way deep on the res, the middle of the res. And we went up there, we went on top of the mountain. We went to a place, I don't even know where we went to, but we went to a place that had a real big Hogan. There was a lot of people. And I was thinking, hey, I got all of this with my grandpa, we're going to have a feast. I have, all of this watermelon in the back. But they told us when we got there, place it in front of the Hogan. There were other ones that were decayed ones that somebody else brought that were put next past where we had put our fresh ones, our fresh fruits. We did that. And the day went by, kind of like in the evening, we say. They told us to get inside, they started singing. And there's all that started going on. Here, I dozed off. I crashed, I was bored. So this is when I was probably about 10 years old. I dozed off. And all of a sudden my grandma goes, "Hey, Tita!" She says, "Get up." She says. And I'm like, what? I just like, as a child, everybody knows. Like, I don't want to get up. But she made me get up. She goes like this to me. I sat up, but I still had my eyes closed. But I knew what was going on. And the singing, that medicine man stopped singing right there. And he just waited. And then my grandma says, "Sit up. The holy ones are coming." Damn. Stop. I was listening. What? All of a sudden you could hear. There was one first. And then there was a whole bunch. And then there was a whole bunch, like a stampede. Bunch. This in the middle of nowhere, there's this Hogan. All of a sudden, we heard these things outside. We heard stuff like that. We heard the footsteps, the breathing, and then some of them kind of like brushing up against the Hogan. We heard all of this. All of a sudden, it just kind of like diminished esteem. The sound kind of just went away. And I went back to sleep. I didn't care, I was amazed for a little while, and then all the action went. I fell back to sleep. The next morning, my grandma woke me up, and she goes, "Let's go outside." They say, "Do that, Tadidin." And so we went outside. There was nothing left. Because we were the first 3 people. My grandpa over here, my grandma, and myself. And then there was the door. So you know how everybody functions in the Hogan. Whoever sits closest to the outside goes first, right? And I walked outside. I was the 3rd person who walked outside. Nothing. I didn't see any of the fresh fruits or the old decayed ones. So I was thinking, okay, where did it go? I started looking around. I was building an adventure. I'm going to go find one. That was my second experience. Then my third experience was in Sonosti. Oh, okay. Let me kind of go through this one real fast.
Okay.
In Sonosti, he said, I was a security guard over there, and I was guarding some piles, asbestos piles that they did, the buildings that they demolished. And here they, one night there was something. I was changing out my tire. I got a flat tire, and I was changed it out, put my tools up, and all of a sudden I heard the gravel. So I turned around that way. It was something huge. From here where I'm staying, probably that corner to that corner over there, probably about maybe close to 50 feet, right? And I saw something that is probably about the line where Rosalind is sitting up there. Real huge thing, hairy thing, just kind of, it did that. It just kind of did that to me. And I thought I was tough, right? There's all these lighting right there. I thought I was a tough guy, Randy Yazzie, tough guy. Just came back from Desert Storm, killed a whole bunch of people. Can bite bullets. Bullets just ricochet off of him. That kind of tough guy, right? But, I was in the Marine Corps. But that Marine inside me screamed when I saw that thing. And everything on the outside stopped. What the hell? It stopped me. So that's the reason why I say the Marine inside me screamed. The Marine inside me thought was tough. Okay? All the other ones, the local things, the guy, my brother being hit with mud clots. Those are the recent ones within the last month. The guy that told me, I don't believe in Bigfoot, came to the house saying, something got me or was going to eat me. So it comes around when it wants to come around. It'll visit you when it wants to visit you. So have some respect. The Dineii, we call them, have some respect for them. Because they are used in ceremonies. The mountain way, they had the mountain lion, the deer, the bear, and Bigfoot. So they're used in our ceremonies. Have respect for them. When you see them, talk to them. As women, you say, Shiyaj, Shachina, She'away, my kids, right? As men, you say, Shiche, or Shitsui. If you call it Shaddai, is going to run at you and whack you the back of the head. Because that's what uncles do. So, the distant relativity that you name off, that's, more or less what they kind of like look at. They just look at you. Until that's what you do. You look at them. If I was to kind of like was walking along and then all of a sudden, like that's the first reaction a man has. Right? That's what they do. So, all of us have respect for them. When you go out to barbecue, when you go out to do all these things, the facts that we come upon, myself, Brenda, and anybody else that knows about these things, don't leave your stuff out, because they're going to smell it. That's an invitation, just like the bears, right? That's an invitation to come and say, hey, go. If I brought my counselor a flower like they gave it to her, I just looked at her and gave it, or just was holding at her, looking at her, what's she going to do? She's going to say thank you and then pick it up. Right? These formal reactions that we have and they have. So be careful out there. Don't let anybody walk in the woods by themselves, because that's where they are. Looking around, leaving. All of a sudden they smell a woman like Mr. Yazzie. So, they're like me. That's what I say. They always act like me. If how I'm acting kind of like gets in the way of somebody else, that's how they are. What I'm doing, how somebody else, hey, you're not good right here. That's what they do. So be careful. This is my presentation, and I hope you have kind of gave you a lot of information in a short amount of time.